Please give us a brief introduction.
Namaskar, sir. Namaskar, ma'am. I'm Sangeeta Subhadarshini. I come from Bhubaneswar. I have finished my schooling from St. Xavier's High School, Kandani. Further, I went for my graduation at Ravenshire University, Cuttack, in geology honors. Presently, I'm working as a city GST officer in Cuttack West Circle.
Okay, tell us something about your hobbies and achievements.
I like to draw illustrations. Mostly my illustrations are on food. I love gardening on my terrace. I had been a member of Fridays for Future previously. Last year, I qualified the Odisha Civil Service examination, which is why I'm currently working as a class officer in the city GST office.
Okay.
So, Sangeeta, already you are in such a very nice position. Why again forestry?
Actually, I had always wanted a field-oriented job, which is not to my current position. It's more of a debt. And also my previous experiences when I worked with Fridays for Future, that had inspired me to work more on environment. And this I believe will give me an opportunity. Uh, Furthermore, it also matches with my graduation stream geology. That I had got extremely nice field experience there, and I was missing it all these years. So I want to revive it once again.
Okay. And God forbid for any reason, this time it is not possible.
I'll keep trying. I'll again appear the civil service examination again, and anytime this comes, this will always be my preference. This is the personal.
Okay. Now, tell me, what are the challenges of the forest reservation, conservation and act is facing right now for its implementation?
Ma'am, the first challenge would be a lack of manpower and also the limitations at all bureaucracy levels. First would be lack of manpower because we need a much more manpower for conservation and guarding every weeks or ranges that the forest is divided into. We fall short in that. Then also we lack some technological advancements. We were very late when we got exposed to the modern technological innovations like GIS, remote sensing, to figure out what is wrong anywhere. And we have been introduced very recently to all this. So that lacuna remains.
Yeah, appointed as a forest officer in an area where there is a repeated fire breakout is being seen in that area. So, what will be your next step to stop it?
Now for fire breakout, there is actually a mechanism for forecasting. We use GIS maps to see heat zones. A zone which is more susceptible to fire. So by that we can increase surveillance in that area, and also there are we can actually monitor it and keep our teams ready in case there's a fire breakout. They can answer it, they can respond to it really quickly. There are other mechanisms as well. I'm actually forgetting the technical names. I'll get on that.
And I'm wondering about BioLinks. BioLinks, BLITZ.
BLITZ.
Go to that. Okay. Now tell me that what is your viewpoint on animal rights being legally equivalent to human rights?
Animal rights being legally equivalent to human rights. I do not think that they. It's a very practical. I do not think it's a very practical approach. to equalize animal rights and human rights, because that will impact human lives, and a human life is precious in a way that many other lives are dependent upon that. It also brings out the intellectual quality that is needed for sustenance of the world.
Suppose we say that when an animal, as I was sorry, should I do? That when an animal attacks a human and he gets then he gets a stress. Then the government gives compensation and all those to the family. On the reverse, when animals are being killed, do think that we should in any way be able to have an empathetic situation towards that, and we can give some, we cannot give money because it's of no use to it. But what are the things that we can do for the family of that also? We can do something for them also. Especially the endangered species.
And they can be kept in monitored breeding to help them reproduce and to keep the lineage of the species going on. We can monitor for poaching so that it does not happen again, and we can penalize and also refer them to punishments to curb this.
Okay. Now tell me that what is the problem with the lab grown crops? Why is it a curse or a boo for the farmers especially?
And for farmers, it is a boon because lab-grown crops are usually aimed at generating more productivity. So more productivity and also resilient to pests. So this will help them earn more. But at the same time, it is a curse to the environment because they cause harm. They cause harm to the environment and other species. They at times it seems that they come across as invasive species which kill the indigenous species of that area. They also cause harm to the water level. They draw more water than the normal crops, and they kill the soil microbiome that's normally present.
What are leguminous plants?
Leguminous plants are those which can do nitrogen fixation by their own. They usually of the bee family.
They use the bacteria, which bacteria?
As a factor.
Rhizobia. Okay. Now, you are appointed as a forest officer. What is that title from the auctioning of the forest product? How will you maintain a transparency in that?
Auctioning of the forest product should first start with a proper tender that is done in all public media, be it newspaper or television, so that people get to know about it. And when all the parties come, there should be a fair competition. And I would see that something which would harm the forests less. The felling should be minimum, but I'll be getting more revenue, as well as the requirements are met. The timber requirements are met. So if these three conditions are met, I think I'll be able to ensure transfers.
Nowadays, in news, we have heard that India is going through La Nina phase. So, why it is happening? Last year it was not happening. Why this year?
La Nina phase usually happens when there is a high pressure in the near Peru. So, what happens that India is comparatively at a lower pressure, and the wind rushes in, and we have more rainfall than usual. So this year, that is why we have more rainfall, and we will have more harsher winters as well. In contrast, in El Nino phase, there is a low pressure created at the Peruvian coast, which is why monsoon winds are diverted there, and not much of it comes to the Indian coast, and monsoons are weaker.
So, how, okay, tell me how India can balance the food security and nutritional security, how it will be balanced in Indian market?
Ma'am, the first problem that we face is the rising population. We are unable to meet all the requirements of the all the demands of the food. So, which is why we are at times importing food products from outside. So, for facing stability in this, we need to focus more on irrigation as well as market price stability, so that farmers get benefited and they are able to take risks to produce more crops. And we can also regulate the hoarding of food products during natural calamities, which causes a sudden decrease of food in the market.
Okay, there is a concept, like per drop, more crop, you know?
Per drop, more drop. This is related to drip irrigation. This was implemented a few years ago when we were aiming at promoting drip irrigation in our villages, so that in the rural areas, so that we can decrease the overuse of water causing wastage. Drip irrigation would be helpful in making water reach drop by drop near the root of the plants, saving more water.
Is it
And
practically possible?
and if there will be problems, obviously, but if we are able to implement the drip irrigation mechanism in the farmlands, then yes, it will be possible.
Okay. You got wearing a dress. Can you tell me something about your dress?
And this is Sambalpuri week, which are not very sure.
Okay. Can you tell me some of the textile names, the prominent names of textile industries in Odisha?
There is this Maya Bandha fabric, which is in Kata district. Then we have the Barnapur silk. We have Sambalpuri fabric. This coat part.
Okay. What are the two from these textile and products which have got the GI tag?
And this one from Raigad, which is 100 that has got the GI tag.
Ikar. And another Varampur silks has also got export. Any two vegetables that has got recently one has got.
The bridge from Nagar continuing
By now. Okay, my last question is who is the forest lady of India? She got awarded also. This last movie has you just went to have Durga Puja. Which form of forest Durga represents forest? Forma Durga?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, very good.
The optional, sir, geology and forestry, right? To start with geology. So from a petrological point of view, can you tell me what are the recent discoveries of oil reserves, at least for preliminary, studies and all? Your cabinet minister has already said that we have unearthed huge reserves. In which part?
So, I'm
Andaman and Nicobar's, what government is saying. Lakshadweep also they found some. Okay. In short, can you tell me something about the geological time scale? What is the the highest or the largest unit?
So the highest unit I think is Botero, the largest one.
I mean, era, epoch, eon, which one will be the largest and which one will be the smallest?
Among these two, Eon would be the largest, Era would be smallest.
Okay, right. So, forestry, do you remember the forest mensuration formulas and um, what is the CAI and MAI?
So CAI is the current annual increment, and MAI is the mean annual increment. I'm looking forward.
What are these basically? Okay, you can skip the formula, only the concept of both. What is CI, what is MAI?
So in CAI and MAI, both we measure the circumference of the tree to check the growth.
Okay. Have you heard the term social forestry?
Yes, sir.
So, any 2, 3 principles of social forestry? And if you can give one example from Odisha of social forestry.
Social forestry is usually the community forestry, where communities are asked to raise forest trees where they are staying around their place. So this helps to profit in raising timber cultivation and to them in raising a healthy atmosphere around their home. And also it reduces the care and tending costs of the government because the community takes care of it. So an example of social forestry, I'm unable.
Okay, you have studied about forest extension, right?
Yes.
So, can you tell me any 2, 3 principles of forest extension?
So forest extension is basically where people from the extension education department, they go to forest communities to help them learn and make them aware about the importance of forest and conservation and how they can be a part of it. So this needs a person who is able to communicate properly with the tribals or the people of that area, who is able to be, the communication should be friendly and they shouldn't be feeling that you are, they should be feeling alienated. And keeping this in mind, we need to also help them understand the forest problems and how they can be a part in the solution.
Okay. So, nowadays, this forest tourism is getting popular. Even our Odisha Forest Development Corporation also maintains some ecotourism cottages where they are encouraging people to go inside the forest, stay there, and what are the advantages and what are the concerns with this forest tourism?
So firstly, the advantages are the people who go and they'll be able to attach themselves more with the forest, which helps them understand the need to conserve it. It will help keep the forests in its pristine condition that it has been. Then it will also help in igniting sense in people to know more of it, know more about the forest and wildlife, which will help them realize their responsibilities towards the environment. Thirdly, it will also boost the revenue collection of the government. But the disadvantages at the same time are that it is a greenwashing concept, basically, where it looks from outside that it will help in conservation, but people actually go in and there are risks of people dirtying up the place with polythene bags. Animals might face discomfort because of people getting inside the forests, and construction work will obviously happen if we are planning to send people in. So that will again cause imbalance, ecological imbalance in the forest.
Okay. So my last question to you would be related to current affairs. Currently, heads and delegations of 3 countries are there in India for trade deals and other things. Can you tell which are these countries? UK is there, the Prime Minister has come, stammers. In Australia is also there, their delegation is here. And in Afghanistan, Taliban government has also come. They want India to recognize them. Okay. And so that will be the end of the interview. Now the assessment. So your flow of speech, disposition, other things are fine. This they'll ask, maybe ask, because this is Forest Service, this will be different, but still then they'll ask you something about your current job profile and all. That is one. Just brush through the optionals a bit. Optionals applicative part mainly, not the static part or technical part like I have some question. They will mainly be dealing with applicative part. Okay. So I'll give you 145 out of 200 for today's interview. You try to push it because their expectation from you will be obviously more as compared to other candidates, right? And in sitting position, you are you have to sit straight. Okay, that is one thing we have to keep. Okay, don't use the rest. Okay, your spinal cord should be straight. That is.
Subhadarshini, the answers were good that are written. Sometimes enumeration is required at first or second exam. Because in open university, we have 10 things to say. The best 3 should be the priority. Okay. Another thing which I always ask, I asked you also, when the interviewer is asking a question which we think is a very normal question, just look for the clue what he is expecting. For example, I ask you a question that how can we, if you are appointed as a forest officer in Nigeria, there is a repeated amount of forest fire is going on, you just miss the word repeated. You deal with the forest fire. Did you get my point? Suppose there are 2 things to that I expected from every student also. I did not everybody miss that one. You should not miss because though it looks easy, it is something tricky that you can say that after all these things, I will make sure that won't be repeated. I shall introduce a root cause to that. You get it? So all questions, just listen for a while, though it looks easy, think that why this question has come to me. Okay, so there are certain keywords we say that. Okay, so that's I have written. So that will be much better. There are a lot of things you can go through. So I will give you just listen to the question. You have told everything perfectly. Just that it will again be awkward because I have repeated. So my question is not forest fire seas. I have repeated forest fire seas. Okay, so that is the interview. There are interviews practice your exam. When is your exam date? 17th. So you have a lot of time. The importance of surroundings from national, international, state point of view. Go through that. Current affairs on 16th night, 17th morning, date of still updated. Okay, and on the best article 150 plus. The maximum this board I have given is 165. You can drag up onto that also. Just practice. Okay, all the best. Thank you.
Yes, my table.